We were born on this earth without having all the answers, and there are people before us that have guided us to be here.
I remember walking in single file at the gay parade in Raleigh, North Carolina, and people standing on the side spitting.
These are the things we had to fight through. We paved the way for a better future for the younger generation.
I want us to think about all those who came before us, who are no longer here today, that have inspired you to care about photos, to care about archives, to care about telling your story, to care about creating and being fire starters and sparks to different organizations and movements. Who are those people that are no longer here physically in this realm that have inspired you to be here today? Much of archiving is a spiritual practice. As queer elders, they have seen a lot in their lifetime. They have grieved a lot. There's a lot of grieving that's part of archiving as well. And so my goal is to really make it a comfortable space for them.
Hi, my name is Ed Woodham, and my pronouns are he, they, and I brought photographs of friends and lovers who, most of who died of AIDS. This is me.
Oh my goodness, look at you. Do you still feel like that guy?
Somewhat. I mean, I show that to people and they go, oh wow, what happened to you? Which is hysterical. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved to New York in 1980. It was a dream since I was a kid, and it was a way where I felt like I could find my surrogate family. I knew I was queer from the onset, and I didn't buy into any of the religiosity or the nationalism that I was subjected to. So I was like just wide-eyed, fresh off the bus with my change of underwear and my tap shoes. It was like nirvana. It was nirvana being on Christopher Street. It was like Shangri-La. I was like I had arrived to a place where I felt like I could walk down the street with a friend or a lover or a boyfriend and hold hands, finally, for the first time in my whole life. Well, let's see. This is a story here. This is a banner that I made with my surrogate new squad, and here's a few of us. And this is a banner I made for I think it was my first gay parade. It was a 15-foot banner. I painted it back in Brooklyn. Me and my very wonderful friends and my boyfriend took it on the subway and stashed it in the bushes in 59th Street in Central Park. That's where everybody would gather for the parade. The symbol is a drawing of the figure of a person full of colored circles or balls, and the top of the head is open. And this, symbolically for me, it meant open your mind. We walked it all the way down to really it was Christopher Street, and then over to the West Side Highway, and it was like sort of like a rite of passage. My first gay parade with the symbol, and I remember just feeling embraced by the love and my community. It wasn't long after that the AIDS epidemic wiped through my whole surrogate family of brothers and decimated them. They were treated like lepers, like they weren't supposed to be alive. It was just this inhumane treatment of my smart, talented brothers who were just dying. I would go to funerals twice a week, funeral parties, and parties where people would take what I call, or they called party packs, so they could die with some dignity. It was just heartbreaking. There was this wonderful high, and then this horrible crash. So a lot of the photographs that I brought in are beautiful boyfriends and friends, most of who are not still alive. And so I'm here today to honor them, and I honor them a lot in my art and in my writing, and think of them often as I walk through the streets of New York.
Hi, my name is Erwin Crute. I'm he, him, and I brought some materials from an organization that I founded called the Coalition of Lesbian and Gay City Employees in the 1990s. I came out when I was about 35 years old. It was really, really difficult to come out as gay. And in fact, it was very difficult to tell my family. But when the Coalition of Lesbian and Gay City Employees was first forming, I had to come out to my staff. At that time, I was the director of the citywide computer training program. We were the only place that was, at that point, doing computer training for city employees. So in lots of ways, we were bringing folks in who sat down at a computer with a mouse for the first time, and they picked up the mouse and clicked it towards the screen, thinking that that was how it worked. It was really important at that point in the early 1990s to get the workforce accustomed to the fact that work was changing and technology was going to be playing an important part in everyone's life. At that point, there was still no domestic partnership benefits for city employees. There were no organizations, no groups that allowed us to get together and talk about what our concerns were. I started the Coalition of Lesbian and Gay City Employees, and it was done by word of mouth. We pulled together a group with a newsletter. This was something that had a coupon that you could fill out and send back to us by U.S. mail, talking about things that were of interest to LGBTQ city employees. It's just a reflection of how times have changed, and also was a reflection for me of how important I think it is to be able to fully be yourself in all aspects of your life.
Hard times, we couldn't kiss anybody on the street. We used to use different names. We couldn't hold hands. Fear of losing your job, fear of being ostracized or your family finding out. And this was the life. We don't want to go back to that.
I used to own a gay nightclub in the city for 10 years, and I've been in the community for a long time.
My name is Nicole Encarnacion. Some of you might know me as Nicole Parker, but actually it's Nicole Encarnacion. Approximately 20 years ago, an opportunity came to invest in a club called Heaven. It was a gay club, of course. And the reason I wanted to be involved in this was that through the years I had been involved at the March, Gay Liberation. I lost quite a few friends during the AIDS epidemic. So I continued to be involved in the community and as much support that I could provide. And we would have lines around the block. It was very, very popular. We were pretty much the spot to go to for a little over 10 years. When it was time to get out, it was really because my mother had Alzheimer's and I was needed at home. Now I'm on the women's committee for SAGE because our age group, we're up there and we still want to dance. So we find that these parties are extremely successful and it creates a bond between the young people and our generation. So, you create a base of friends, and you see too many go. Yeah, I miss them. So
I don't know how new it is, really, but in this era of erasure and the political climate that we're in right now, maintaining and sustaining these stories of my period of being a queer is, especially from the depths of the South, is very important.
I think the most important thing that comes from future generations looking at these archival materials is the recognition that as a group, the LGBTQ plus community has always had to take care of its own.
we went through a lot, and I think it's important that the future of our community is aware of how they have to be vigilant and diligent to hold on to all the things that we marched for and fought for.
It is political in this way. It is a conscious choice and a deliberate choice to show up and to say, no, we're going to carve out time to be remembered and to remember and to document, and not have our histories erased and not have us be edited out or, redacted out of a history, right? Because queer people have always been here, trans people have always been here, and have always been change makers, have always made history, whether it will be acknowledged within the United States imperialism or not.